Radio 103.9, New York's best mix of R&B. We are inside the Hackensack Meridian Health Stage, 17 Artist Lounge. And today, oh my God, when I found out this lady right here, which I will introduce her properly, was coming, I said, wait, hold on, what? Who? Did you just say what? This right here? This is Miss Asante McGee. Did I get it right?
You did.
Okay. From Atlanta?
Yes.
And I know you're probably like, all right, so now that we know her name, who is she? Well, we've all heard about R. Kelly, right? We know about R. Kelly and his women. We know about that movie on Lifetime called Surviving R. Kelly. Well, this is one of the ladies from the movie and his, can I say concubine? Is that what it was?
I was one of many women.
Were you his girlfriend? Like, let's be honest. Were you his girlfriend?
I was, yes. I was one of many of his girlfriends. He had plenty. Okay.
Now, before we get into this interview, yesterday, you were at the premiere and a shooting, a threat, something happened down there. What was it?
Yes, it was a bomb threat that was sent to the theater where we was doing a documentary premiere.
Yeah. Now, what was the threat about? Like, because they didn't want you to play the movie? They didn't want to hear your story? Were there other women there too?
Yes, it was 7 of us total of the survivors that was on the panel. And so we was like 15 minutes into watching the documentary when we was escorted out and was told it was a bomb threat. And we had to evacuate immediately.
Yeah. Now, do you get threats a lot? I mean, a lot of us are rooting for you. Some of us are looking at you sideways like, girl, what were you doing in this whole concubine, ladies, girlfriends, whatever you want to call it? Do you get these a lot?
I do. I mean, as far as threats, no one has actually threatened my life. But, of course, you know, the different trolls and different people on the different social medias are always victim shaming. Mm-hmm. And they always tell me, oh, you too old, or you're bitter because he left you alone, or you knew better. Why would you stay with him for 2 years knowing the type of person he was? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people don't understand that with me being with him for 2 years, it was different than living with him. Mm-hmm. So you get a different treatment, if that makes sense.
None of this makes sense. And you know, again, like I said this to you earlier, I'm not one to victim shame because I was in my own situation before when I was younger. So it's not, but it's something about we're trying to understand what got you in, what kept you, and what made you leave. Now let's rewind all back to the beginning, my love. How did we meet R. Kelly?
I was always a big fan of his, so I actually went to one of his concerts. He was doing, well, it wasn't a concert, it was a promo that he was doing for the Black Panties tour in Atlanta in 2013. So I actually met some of his entourage, and they started inviting me to different events. And so January of 2014 is when I actually met him, and he gave me his number. And then from there is when our relationship started.
Okay, but what kind of relationship? Did you jump into the harem right away? And again, these are just no malice towards you. I love you to death, and I wish you nothing but the best. But these words that I use.
No, it wasn't that I jumped into it. He was really honest about everything. He let me know that he had many women, some like wives to him, and he just let me know that I would actually meet some of them, and if I was okay with it. And I guess I admired the fact that he was honest and let me know. And of course, he's R. Kelly, so I would be a fool to think that I would have been, you know, one of his only women. So, you know, basically he was flying me in and out to different concerts and different things like that, grooming me, you know, having fun, doing house parties at his studio or different places wherever he was at. So I've never met any of the women until 2 years into the relationship.
Now, when somebody tells you, like, were you dating before you got with him?
Actually, I was separated. I was married, and then I was separated going through a divorce at the time when I actually got with him.
Okay, so you got through a divorce, so you know how it is to be in a monogamous relationship. And how old were you?
At the time, I was 34.
Oh, so you ain't a youngin'. No. You're not wet behind the ears. So you went into this relationship saying, like, I just want to have fun. You wasn't trying to really be in a relationship with him, like, because a man, a lot of women, a man tells me he got other broads, I ain't beef for it unless I know what I'm just getting into. Like, I'm just trying to get a little lay here, a little trip here. Like,
I guess in the beginning, I didn't think about actually trying to be in a relationship with just me and him. So I guess it was just the fact that who it was R. Kelly. This is someone that I was in love with. I was like his #1 fan. So to actually be able to be with him, I was happy. And like I said, I was never around the other women. I knew about the other women, but I was never around them. So that's why it really didn't matter to me. It's times that he would fly me out, I wouldn't see him, but you know, I never got upset about it. You know, I know he probably was in the studio recording or just doing different things, so I never got mad. It's, you know, with some incidents that I got upset, but then of course he sweet talked his way into it, and I got over it.
Well, how did he treat you when you guys were together?
I mean, he treated me like a queen. It's like he's a jokester, so we could just be sitting anywhere. He's joking about every little thing, telling little knock jokes, just different things. I mean, like I said, he was funny as R. Kelly.
All right. Now, was there anything at one point besides the big red flag that he had many other women, because he told you, and I'll give you that, Kels, that you were honest about that, but was there any other from the beginning where you were like, man, I should leave, even though you stayed?
No, I mean, it was never no red flags. Like I said, he never raised his voice. He never was controlling to me. The only thing is, when you fly in, you do have to let him know, like, hey, I'm on my way. When you get in an Uber or a taxi, he tell you, don't talk to the driver. If the driver asks you any questions, make sure you have your radio on, your earphones on. Don't answer anybody. And whenever you got to your destination, you let him know, hey, daddy, I made it.
You really had to call him daddy? Like, I always heard that.
Yes, you do have to call him daddy. He let you know, call me daddy. And if you didn't call him daddy, he would get upset. So if we are like arguing through a text message, I would say Rob. And so, or we even talking on the phone, I wouldn't say, he would like, do you hear me? And I'd just be silent. Or I'd be like, yes, yes. And if I didn't say yes, daddy, he knew something was wrong. And then he would just keep talking until I finally said yes, daddy. And he'd be like, good girl.
Okay. And this is all from the jump, right?
This is throughout the first 2 years.
How long were you with him?
I was with him from January 2014 to June of 2016.
Okay. All right. Now, you have to let him know you're in the Uber, which, I mean, I understand. Maybe my boyfriend does it all the time. Like, let me know when you're in the Uber so I know you're home safe. But when having to call him daddy, that didn't give you like, nah.
It did when he told me to call, because at first I was like, I'll call him R. Kelly. And he was like, no, don't call me R. Kelly. So then I would say Rob. He was like, no, I want you to call me daddy. And I was like, daddy. So I'm thinking like, okay, you did not, you know, you're not my father. So I was like, okay, daddy it is. That's what you want me to call you. So I always address him as daddy.
Okay. And talking about daddies and your daddy, did they know what you were living with? Like, did you really live with him or no?
Okay. And that's where a lot of confusion is going on, where people keep saying I knew how he was. From January of 2014 to May of 2016, I was just flying back and forth. So when he kicked off the buffet tour, that's from Dallas to Oklahoma, I ended up at his Atlanta house. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know. So my intentions were to go to the Houston and the Dallas show and go back to Atlanta. So when we got to Dallas, one of his assistants told me, you need to get your clothes because you need to get on the bus or you're going to be in the next city without clothes. And I was like, huh? So, you know, I got my clothes, got on the bus. So even after Oklahoma, I'm thinking I'm going to go back, you know, to the airport. So we ended up in Atlanta, and he opened the Sprinter and was like, welcome home, my babies. So at this point, it was me and 2 other girls on the Sprinter. And I'm like, welcome home. And he opens, you know, this was in his Johns Creek home. We go to the house. He, you know, show us our rooms, give us a tour of the house. And that's when the controlling began.
Oh, and you didn't say, oh, no, honey, I'm not going in this house with 2 other broads. Like,
well, at this time, I have kids, so it's the summer.
Oh, hold up. You got kids and you're doing all this?
It was the summertime, so even when I was traveling back and forth, my kids was attended by a friend or somebody, you know, a family member, especially during the summertime. My kids always went by my family for the summer. So, and whenever I travel with him, I will always travel through the weekend, not through the weekday when my kids had school. So a lot of people, you know, were saying that I left my kids unattended, which was not true. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it's the summertime, my kids gone with the family, so I'm like, okay, I'll play along with it but when August come, I'm getting my butt to go back home. I'm thinking it would be that easy. Mm-hmm. So getting into the house, days, you know, different rules was coming to me, and I'm like, what? And then finally the breaking point was I got in trouble for wearing the wrong clothes. So I had on a spaghetti strap shirt with some shorts, and we was getting ready to go to the studio. No, we was gonna go to the mall, and he was gonna go to the studio. He grabbed me by my arm and pulled me in the corner and said, you need to go change your shirt right now. And I'm looking like, what? I go upstairs, change my shirt to a t-shirt. I come back down. Instead, we all get in one vehicle. We transfer to a different vehicle. Instead of me going with the other girls to the mall, I ended up in the vehicle with him. So he didn't say anything to me. He went to go play basketball, silent treatment. We went to the studio. We got on a tour bus. That's when he gave me the speech about my clothes. The girls are getting intimidated by the way I'm dressing, and that I need to start wearing jogging suits. And I said, well, it's 120 degrees outside. I'm not wearing no jogging suits. He said, you're skinny. You shouldn't get hot. And I'm like, what? And that's when more and more controlling started to happen. Like I said, even from when I could eat, when I could take a bath, I had to literally lie to be able to go get clothes because I literally ran out of clothes. Every day I would ask, can I go home to get clothes? Every day was an excuse why I couldn't. And so one day we was just out and about, and I pretend like I had movies at the house because remember, he told me I'm living with him. So he had told me I need to go get all of my stuff and bring it to his house. So I told him, hey, the movie's going to be at the house at 12 o'clock. I need to go get meet the movers. That's how I was able to leave to go get clothes. But he monitored how long I was gone.
Okay. That is mind-blowing. And you allowed this, though.
I allowed it, but that was my breaking point because, again, every day I'm finding out more and more about Robert and not R. Kelly. So at this point, I'm saying Rob. Mm-hmm. And so, from the controlling parts and everything that I was witnessing and things he was doing to me and to other girls. So at this point, I'm starting to plot my escape. So I'm like, okay, he has a show in New Orleans on Father's Day, and that's why I'm originally from New Orleans. So I have family there. So originally when I got to New Orleans, I already was going to have somebody there to pick me up from the show. So they was going to come to the show, and at that time I was going to leave with them. But I didn't last that long because me and one of the other girls actually almost got into a physical altercation.
Why? Wait, all right, hold on. This is moving too quick. Because my thing is, throughout all this that you're telling me, which all of us are like, what the hell? Where are your kids?
This is still the summer. This is June of 2016. The kids are out of school there with my family. So I only lived in his house for 3 weeks. I did not live with this man for the entire duration of our relationship.
Oh, okay.
And so that's where a lot of people is confused, and they think that I lived with this man the entire time, and I didn't. I lasted 3 weeks.
Now, okay, so help us understand, because this is just crazy because we keep hearing about all these girls. How can you say I survived? Because this is what a lot of people are wondering. How can you say you survived R. Kelly, but you allowed all this to happen?
And I think the difference with people say we survived, I think for me personally and the other girls that did get out, we survived because we were able to get out and still have our mentality. Like, today it's still hard, even reading different things, in the blogs and stuff, people blaming us, or you were too old, and saying, oh, you deserved it, you mad or whatever. A lot of people say what they won't do until you're in that situation. Even growing up into abuse, and my grandmother taught me, don't ever let anybody hit you. I remember my grandmother telling me, if a man hit you, chop his thing off and put it on a silver platter and serve it to him. Mm-hmm. And so I always stuck with that. But then I met my husband. We was together for 13 years, married for 11 years. He beat the hell out of me. And I kept accusing myself and accepted his apologies. So finally, I had enough. It wasn't the point where everybody kept telling me, oh, you don't deserve this, you need to leave. What I had to learn is you have to be tired. Your heart have to be tired. If you leave because everybody else telling you to leave, it's not going to work. You're going to keep going back. And so finally I got that breaking point, and I actually left my husband. So then when I meet R. Kelly, I'm thinking, oh, he's genuine. He's telling me the truth about the other women. Then he's not going to hurt me. He's actually, going to love on me and love me. And that's what I thought I was being loved until I met Robert. And so a lot of people don't realize there's a difference between R. Kelly and Robert. So the fans in the world know R. Kelly. When you meet Robert, you will understand the difference. And like I said, because I recognized the abuse and I knew I deserved more, because I promised myself, even after leaving my husband, that I would never let another man abuse me. That's why I was able to leave faster than I did, than a lot of other girls did. Now,
being someone who was in an abusive relationship before your marriage, you see these things popping up from day, of course, in the beginning, you saw somebody who was being honest with you. And that's something that as a victim, you want honesty so you could figure it out. But then at the same time, don't you ever think about when was your husband ever honest with you?
No. And I think that's the reason why I accepted when Rob told me about the other women, because when my husband cheated on me, got another girl pregnant, he denied it. He never told me the truth. I found out because these women would contact me and brag about being with my husband. So for me to have Rob be honest with me and tell me he have other women and I will soon meet them and they're like wives, I appreciate the honesty. And I decided to still deal with him. But if I would have known about the controlling behavior, because a lot of things is in the media, years back, you always heard about him being a predator, him wanting to be with young women. But it's not so. He preferred younger women because the simple fact is they're easier to control. So once he see that he could control you, then he's going to, it's fair game. So for instance, I think how he realized that he had me where he wanted when he flew me to Chicago Easter weekend of 2015. And he had me sit on a Sprinter from like 11 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, wait, you were sitting in the Sprinter all day doing nothing with just your phone?
Yes. And because I was on the phone talking to friends, I didn't realize the time passed by. I had to use the bathroom. I would text him, Dad, I need to use the bathroom. No answer. I had to sneak off the Sprinter and find a local restaurant to use the bathroom and hurry up and come back so he didn't notice I was gone.
Ow. But this is something that would normally happen though when you were in the house for the 3 weeks?
No, this was before I actually moved into the house. This was 2015. And that was the first time he put me through that test. And I found out 2016 that was a test because he told one of the other girls, this is the girl that I was telling you about that I made sit in the Sprinter the whole time. She passed the test. And I was mind blown. I was like, what? Like this was a test? Mm-hmm. And so I just couldn't believe it. But at the end, I guess I just overlooked it and was like, okay, it was a test. I passed the test, moving forward.
Now, when you were with him, was this before or after the alleged urination?
And see, this was after, but I've never seen the tape. To this day, I have never seen the tape. I've heard the rumors, but I've never seen the tape. And then just actually being in his presence, I just didn't see, anything wrong with him. And like I said, it's more, a lot of people just kept saying he was a predator instead of detailing the accounts that he does to women now with the mental, the emotional, the sexual abuse. So that's the problem why I think a lot of us still continue to deal with him.
Yeah, and when you say sexual abuse, what do you mean sexual abuse? Because all I've heard is just that he's very controlling.
He's controlling. When I say sexual abuse, he make you perform sexual acts, things that you don't want to do, but you do it because who he is. And if you try to deny him, then he would get upset. And it's like you want to please him. You don't want to make him upset. And he would like always say, oh, I'm the only person. I don't have any friends. I'm the only person around. Don't nobody love me. I'm like these 3 little lonely flowers. And like he will always make you sympathize for him.
He tries to make you feel like you want to save him. Because that's something and men and women, we have that. I want to save him. I want to show him that there's something better out there or change. Did you ever think you could change him?
At that point, I didn't even think that it was a change that needed to be done because, again, I did not see the controlling side until I moved in. And like I said, and that's the reason why I left the way I did. And when I left, I knew I had to do something because it was one girl that was there that's missing school. She was in college. She's trying to call him. He's in the studio. We on the bus. He's not answering his phone because he's with another woman. This girl missing school. Another girl, I'm just seeing the different things that's going on. And I knew when I left, these girls need to come home. So I needed to contact these parents to tell them, hey, do you know your daughter is with this man? Do you know this is what's, taking place? And that's the reason why I just felt as a mother and as a woman that this is not cool at all.
So you were able to talk to the other girls?
Well, basically, we would all be in a room. You couldn't be alone with each other and talk. We had to be in front of him. You had to smile, just have compliment each other pretty much. But you could never really talk about your personal life, like your family side or anything like that. You couldn't even discuss your age. Because even being with him, I had to talk like a little girl. Yeah.
Well, how? When you say like a little girl, like...
Basically, like, sexually... He wants you to disguise your voice as a little girl. Like, yes, daddy. Like, he wants you to sound like a little girl. And he will tell you that pitch is right. When it get right, he'll tell you, yes, keep it like that. So he just want that inner girl in you.
Oh, and, okay, so we move in the house. Like, this is crazy because somebody outside... And again, like I said, I was in an abusive relationship at one point in my life. And you stay because you think, of course, you blame yourself. But as being somebody who was in it, I can't see myself putting myself back in that situation. No matter how somebody treats me, I'm trying to figure this out. Like, how?
Are you talking about as far as being with accepting other women? Or?
Accepting other women, somebody telling me you gonna come to the house, pack yourself. Not like, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna move in.
I think at the moment when he brought me to the house, I was like, oh wow, he really, because I always told that he only moved those in that he truly trusts and he care about. So I'm like, oh, he really care about me to move me in the house. So again, I'm not thinking about the consequences of, how I'm going to be treated, because again, I've only known R. Kelly. I've never seen the dark side of Robert. So that's why even like the first day when we got there, he showed us all our room. We got our luggage. I took a shower. One of the girls told us, okay, come downstairs. We went downstairs. We listened to music, drank alcohol or whatever, and we went to sleep. Then we woke up. I told him that day I need to go get clothes. He came up with an excuse. I accepted it because I'm like, okay, maybe, we about to really leave. But then when I'm starting to think, we still didn't leave when he said we was going to leave. So again, I'm just, overlooking the things. And then he was still on tour. So when we go to the house, we would leave for the next city to go on tour. So it really wasn't a lot of sitting around. We was always on the go. The only way we would sit down is if he would have like a 2 or 3 day break. But his shows was like in the Carolinas, so we would drive to Carolina and stuff. So again, it's normal right now because there's no controlling until we're sitting in the house for a couple of days. And when you ask him for stuff and he's telling you, oh, if you want to go eat, you need to ask me to go eat. If you want to leave the room, you need to knock on the wall. So every day, and I'm just thinking like, okay, no. So again, at this point, I'm starting to plot when I'm going to leave. And I felt my safest point was when I got to New Orleans. So even I'd say within a week, maybe 2 weeks in, I already knew I was leaving because I knew I was not staying in the house.
Was there security in the house? Like you couldn't be like, I'm just walking right the hell up out of here?
The way his house is, there's a long driveway. Security is parked in the driveway where you cannot get out or get in. Security would literally have to move their vehicle for you to get in and out the driveway. So even if you was to leave, you couldn't drive out there. And if you was going to walk, you don't know what he's told these security people to do if they catch us outside of the premises without him. So nobody's about to take that chance. And he makes you believe that you're watching everything. He's watching your every move.
All right, so you say security will hurt you if you try to leave?
I don't know. I'm saying that you don't know what he's told security. Okay. So you're not about to take that chance if security is blocking the driveway like that.
Was there any wall that you could climb like Spider-Man? Spider-Man.
No, it was a small subdivision, maybe like 10 houses, and his house was on the corner where you had to go through woods to climb over like a iron gate. So it's not like you had access to just walk out and just and hitchhike. It wasn't that easy. Yeah, and okay, you use New Orleans, but when you went to these other cities, you didn't think about saying, "Hey, officer." And again, you probably thought of all this stuff, but these are things that we all wondering. Like, did you ever be like, let me tell this officer, like 911, somebody trying, he got me kidnapped? Because the first week moving there, again, we was leaving and going straight to concerts. So we actually, when we first moved there, we only slept in the house maybe 1 day or 2 days. So we was always on the road, sleeping at hotel to hotel because he on the road.
And you keep saying this, and I'm still like, I'm not. Again, I got kids. I don't care if it's for the summer because I'm thinking like he's gonna keep me here. You hear all these stories about men,
but I didn't think.
And again, I hope you don't think I'm shaming you. These are just questions that I want to, I'd rather ask you than assume it and be saying like this broad over here, dumbest. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, and it's not. And again, it's not anything about that. It's the simple fact is, I'm here. I didn't think it would be something that I was going to have to fight my way to get out. I thought he easily brought me here. I could easily walk out. I did not know. Again, I didn't know Robert. I only knew R. Kelly when I, accepted it. When he said, "Go get all of your things because you're going to be living here." I actually looked at him like he was crazy. But again, I'm just like, okay, so just June. I'll be back in August. I just tell him, I got to go home with my kids. I really thought it would be that easy.
Did you ever feel guilty being without your kids for the whole summer? Or because you said, I know it's something normal that your kids go with your grandparents, but
I didn't feel guilty because again, it's the summertime. The kids are out with their family because my family don't live in Georgia. So because they're all with their family or with their dad and stuff, so they're having the time of their life until it's time to come back for school. So, because even if I wasn't with him, I would have been just probably sitting at home. I wouldn't have been with them either way. Go for the summer.
Were you able to at least contact them and talk to them? Like,
I'd be in my room, but if I was in his presence, we couldn't have our phone out.
you didn't find? Oh, this must have been after week 1, because I would have been like, you didn't find that weird?
Yeah, and at first it was told because he don't want you secretly recording him or secretly taking pictures and sending something. Okay, he's a R&B star. I can understand that's why he didn't want your phone out. You just sitting there texting people, whatever like that, and sending pictures. So as long as I was by myself, if I'm on a sprinter, I could get in contact with my kids. And if my kids were to call me, I could step off the sprinter if we are parked to talk to them.
Okay. Now, another thing, me, I'm a greedy witch. I love my one salami all day, every day. You didn't feel jeeved out knowing that he...
Oh, no. And that was one of my first things I told him. I said, you like to starve people, and I like to eat.
Oh, you talking about real food. I'm talking about... I'm sorry. This is on camera. Like, like, I don't like other women. Like, of course we have your husband, my man. They've had a past, so they've been with other people. But to know that he's out here... this minute he's with this one, the next, you didn't feel jeeved out?
I guess because being cheated.
He starved you too?
Yeah, but I guess the whole thing was because my husband already cheated on me and this man was honest, then I was okay. I do admit I did get jealous at times, but I never showed that jealousy.
Did you guys have used to use a condom though? Because that would make me sick. I would think that he's gonna bring me some herpes or something.
And I am thankful that I did not contract any STD.
So that means you didn't use a condom?
Not all the time.
And
I've been tested and I don't have any STDs, and I'm just thankful for that.
Amen. High five. Sorry for cursing. Sorry, bleep me out, Dan. Thank you. But like that ain't like you didn't feel weird. Like
I guess
you didn't ask him like was he having raw sex with anybody else?
That was a conversation, and of course he blew it off. He would say something smart to the nature or whatever, act like he was about to get mad, and you just okay, you're R. Kelly, and just. And then I guess in my mind, I'm thinking maybe it was just the girls that's in the house, which was not, many, versus the other women he's dating that he's using protection with the women that he just fly in and out.
Okay, so now, we've always heard about, and you're clearly on this Lifetime show, Surviving R. Kelly. Hearing the stories of the other women, are you surprised? Was it something different that he did with you that he didn't do with them? Did he urinate on you? I'm sorry. That is the number one question we all want to know.
No, he did not urinate on me. Listen to the other girl's story. We all have similar stories. The only difference is some was physically abused more than I was. And I feel like if I didn't leave when I did, it would have became physical. Because even with him just roughing me up, taking me to the corner from wearing the wrong kind of shirt. And so I just really wish these stories would have came out years ago and it would have prevented me from even getting with him. Yeah, I know a lot of people say, well, how could you be stupid to get with him knowing he had this sex tape out? Again, I never seen the sex tape. I never had any interest because I was that diehard fan. I genuinely loved him. I didn't love him for R. Kelly. I loved him as the person I thought he was. And so that's a difference when, a lot of people say people get with celebrities just behind money. It was never about that. I genuinely loved him.
But how can you genuinely love somebody you really don't know? All you know is their music.
Just like it's what I thought I knew. I mean, just following his interviews, believing everything that he said. So basically, he said what he wanted us to know and wanted us to believe versus the dark side. And then I just feel like by so many women coming forward now with the same or similar allegations, hopefully it will stop, other women from becoming his victim. I see in the comments, oh, I'm still going to get with him. Y'all lying or whatever. And I'm like, it's sad that y'all say that. And it's like, when would it stop? When would you change your mind when it happens to you, your mother, your daughter? It's like we need to be an adults. We need to be mature about the situation. This is not no money gag. No one is trying to get money from this man. It's not even about money. And I tell people that all the time. I don't want $1. I just want people to stop being victimized by him and other men like him.
And I appreciate that. I don't think for the adult women, sometimes I did think it was about the money, but I was more upset with the parents that allowed their kids to go, because I'm like, you want your child to go live with somebody and you're not going to check in on them.
And And that was my thing. I mean, because I really didn't know what the situation was. That's the reason why I contacted the parents, because I'm like, maybe these girls are sneaking out and the parents don't know, because I do know one of the girls was staying on campus. So that's the reason why I started contacting the parents, to let them know, hey, do you know your daughter's dating this man and this is what's going on? Because I just couldn't believe, anybody that just actually brought their child to this man knowing his history.
That's the thing I'm more upset out. You're a grown woman. I can't be mad at you. I'm just gonna be curious because I want to know about all this stuff. Like, let's be honest, was it worth saying?
I think my biggest thing was I was curious about his music, and he lives up to his music, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not glorifying that, but I was just at least wanting to know that part. So when does the Lifetime Surviving R. Kelly drop?
It drops January 3rd, so it's a 3-part docuseries, the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th.
All right, mi gente. Thank you so much for watching Hackensack Meridian Health Stage 17. We are Radio 1039. Asante McGee. Did I get it? Make sure you guys follow her. Thank you.